And in this tutorial, we're going to be talking about the readable and writable streams. Now, what these streams allow us to do is basically be able to read and write data more efficiently. And the way that they accomplish this is by reading and writing data in chunks as opposed to reading and writing the data all at once. So to get started, we're going to have to require the fs module or the file system module. So I'm just going to say const fs is equal to require fs. Now that we have our file system module included, we're going to create a readable stream. And there's a method called fs.createReadStream. And now I need to give it the path. So if I just hit Control B, you can see that I have an example.txt file here. And it has a bunch of text that we're going to be reading in. So if I head back to app.js, hit Control B again, we're just going to give it the path of /example.txt, and then that's it. Now this is going to return to us a readable stream. So I'm just going to save it within a variable. So I'm just going to say const readStream is equal to fs.readStream. And then here, what we can do is listen for an event. Now the readStream object inherits from the EventEmitter class. So that means we could listen for events to occur. And one event that we want to listen for is the data event. So I'm just going to say readStream.on data, and then this is going to take a callback function. And now we're going to get a chunk of data in return. So every time we read a piece of data, this event data is going to be invoked. So this callback function is going to be called every time we get a piece of data. So now I'm just going to print out the data onto the console. And you're going to see why I call it a chunk and not the full file in a second. So now if I save this, go to Node, App, and you can see that we read this data within two chunks. So we have two printouts here. We have a buffer here and a buffer here. So let's actually set the encoding type so it's a lot easier to what the source is. And we're just going to set it to UTF-8 and save this. And now let's rerun this application. And there you go. You see that we read our text file. So what are the benefits of reading this in a chunk as opposed to loading the whole file? Well, for one, when I get this chunk, I could immediately start manipulating that chunk. So I don't have to wait for the whole file to load in order to manipulate it. Or let's say that I don't want to manipulate this chunk of data that I got already. I want to send it to a new file. Well, I could start sending that data to a new file while I'm reading in the data itself. So let's actually send it to a new file, and for that we're gonna have to create a writable stream. So I'm just gonna go here and I'm gonna say const WritableStream is equal to fs.create WritableStream. And within here is going to be the name of the file that I want to write to. So I'm just going to call it example2.txt. And now within here, what I can do is, instead of waiting to get the whole data, I could start writing chunks to the new file. So within here, instead of just printing out console.log chunk, I can say WritableStream.write, and I could write this data to a new file as I'm reading it in. So I could say chunk here, and let's save that. And now if I run this application, Node app. So now if I hit Control B, you're gonna see our newly created file. And if I go here, you can see that we wrote onto a new file. So basically what's happening here is I'm able to write chunk by chunk, in our example, 2 chunks, in order to get the full file. But I'm able to start writing before the file is fully loaded. And that's pretty much the power of using a stream.